Yo guys, what's going on? This is Yorkie Man here and welcome back to another episode of Bringing Back Bolton. We finished our first season in the Championship. It's been a very fun season. It's kind of been one of those seasons where I've just winged it. I've just let things happen as they happen. And yeah, it's been alright. It's been an okay season. As you can see, we've got a B. All 46 games are done. We got 5th highest goal scorers, but 15th best goals conceded. So as you could tell, we were a little bit iffy on that, although we did have a lot of yellow cards this season with 107. But let's go through the squad. Let's go through the results. Let's go through where we finished in the season, the plan. There's been some extremely big news, though, as we talk about it. The club has actually had a takeover. I'll put up on the screen now what's gone on with the takeover. I'm really happy that we finally got one. I think it gives stability to the club. I don't know how much money they'll pump in. There has been some initial money given to us to start off with, but I don't know how much money they'll pump in going forward. It'll be interesting to see if we get like cash injections now constantly, or if they'll just sit back and do exactly what the other board did. They haven't taken any more loans out, so I mean that's definitely a bonus. So this is how the finances are looking at the moment. I think they're looking pretty healthy. I'm going to be honest with you. Going into the start of the new season, we look like we're in a good position. There's still 21 million of the debt to pay off, so that's not done and dusted. That's still going to be a scenario that's going on at the club. Although we do now have 70% of the transfer revenue made available to us. We have 556k in the transfer budget, and I think we've got like 11k in wages to spend. There's obviously going to be some sales and some players come off the books this season. We need to start establishing ourselves as a championship club because, guys, we stayed in the championship. To be fair, at this stage, it never really was in doubt after the last episode. I had full faith that we couldn't get relegated. As you can see here, we went on an absolute terrible run, so we dropped down the table massively. You'll notice that when we go through the results, but 16th place on a season that we was definitely expected to get relegated. We've got the lowest wage budget, and it looks like we're going to have that again next season at 150k per week, and by far the smallest club in terms of like the actual personnel that we've got in the league. But we did manage to find ourselves in 16th, so I'm very, very happy about that. Although there's going to be some full-scale changes next season. One thing I haven't really done so far on the save is go through the staff, and without a doubt I am now going to go through all the staff with a fine-tooth comb, as I'll show you. Like, the staff that we've got aren't very good, so I'm going to be making a real effort moving into next season to sign as many new staff members to bolster the back room. I didn't want to spend money on staff before because I was a little bit nervous that I'd overspend and it come out of the finances and it just ruined the club, so I've focused on signing players. So as you can see, guys, this is the results that we had. We did manage to go on a bit of an FA Cup run, which was really good. We actually beat Palace in extra time, but then Arsenal did batter us 5-0. Destroyed out of the FA Cup. Not a problem, though. I didn't expect us to get as far as we did. Definitely helped with the finances moving forward, though, so I can't complain about the FA Cup. And it looked for all purposes that we keep our form, to be honest with you, throughout the season. But as you can see, the period of time that's really let us down is this last month. This last month, we didn't get a single win. And the most frustrating part is the games that we drew. Preston, we went 2 up. They brought 2 back. Birmingham, we went 1 up. They got a goal back. QPR, 2 goals up. They got a goal back. So it just seemed like to be repeating itself. The team seemed to run out of gas towards the back end of the season. And all the luck and the good faith that we was having was certainly happening at the front end of the season. So it made for a really difficult time moving into the back stretch. It was a frustrating time to play the game as well, to be honest with you, because it's never fun when you're losing and drawing all the time, especially when it's frustrating draws where you dominate or you're up in the game, and for some strange reason, your team just capitulates. They get an early goal. This happened a lot, a goal quick into the second half, and then it gives them confidence. They ended up pegging us back. It's frustrating, but at the end of the day, that entire end month, all I was thinking in my head is we're safe. We're safe in the championship. I'm going to be able to start building a championship squad, and moving forward next season, it's going to be fantastic. I think there's going to be a lot of decent free transfers. We did make a lot of free transfers this time round, but to be honest with you, there's quite a few of them that I may look to get out of the club, move them on, and see if we can just get some money from them. I know I mentioned a lot that I was signing players just to make money off them, but that's realistically where we're at, and some of the players that we brought in were nowhere near as good as I expected. I don't know if it's the system or they need time to settle in at the club, but, you know, it was very frustrating for me moving forward. We have had another youth intake. It was said to be another golden generation, so let's take a quick look at the youth squad. So even though it was noted as a golden generation, if you look at the youth squad, there aren't that many good players. We've literally moved them all to the first team, to be honest with you, throughout the seasons. But we only have two really there that stick out, and it's Daniel Brown and Joey Hughes. So if they become anything, we'll keep an eye on them moving forward. Joey Hughes does actually look like he could be a pretty decent player for us, but I have no idea how he's going to turn out. The guy's only 16. But the youth side of things now has kind of tailed off a little bit, whereas at the start with Bolton, we just had tons of fantastic youth. Now we've hit the championship. These golden generations don't seem to be as good. I don't know if it's got anything to do with the youth facilities, maybe the fact that, you know, they've been downgraded over time, especially now we're in the championship, but it's a little bit frustrating, but I can't really complain because we've got so many good young players already moved through the club, and some of them now moving on and making money for us, that I'm not going to whinge. I'm not going to complain because we had a good season. We did all right in the championship. I'm very happy about that. So there was a transfer window, but there wasn't a transfer window for me. It didn't feel like it. I did zero business whatsoever in this transfer window in January. It meant nothing to me. We were always going to keep the same squad. I did look to move a few players on. Nobody wanted any of my players whatsoever. I was just trying to push them and push them and push them, listing them, offering them out non-stop, but nobody wanted them. Bennett was one of the main ones there, and Brown, but nobody wanted my players. I don't know why. It's the way it is. It's just the way it is. That's a song. That's a great song as well. I love that song. I might have to go and listen to that. Anyway, in the episode here that I'm supposed to be recording, we didn't sell any players, okay? We didn't sell any players. We didn't bring any players in. I'm pretty sure I showed you all these three transfers before. And the key one I'm going to highlight is Diogo Brass. He's actually been dreadful for us. I'm not going to lie. He's not been very good. Average rating of 6.77. He spent the majority of time injured. I'll put his injury record on the screen now. But yeah, he spent most of the time injured. It's been extremely frustrating for me. Although his technical attributes, his physical attributes do tell you a different story. They tell you a lie. A big lie. He's not been very good. I'm going to look to try and sell him, I think, to be honest with you. If I can't sell him, I'll bring in someone as good as him, or even anyone close to as good as him, then I might have to rethink. But I think Rayleigh, valued at 5.5 million, if I could get 5.5 million for him, I'd absolutely love it. So I think we're going to look to move him on. I just can't take someone being injured as much as he was, and the performances. I understand that the squad we have wasn't fantastic for him to be playing in, but he just didn't do the business for us, and I needed him to be a big team player. I needed him to carry us in certain games where other players weren't having good performances, and he just couldn't do it. So when we talk about underperforming players, we move on to someone who overperformed once again this year. It's Ryan Edmondson. And my love for this man does not dwindle whatsoever. Season on, season out, he keeps doing the business. It's his first season in the championship, 35 appearances, 11 off the bench. He scored 18 goals with 4 assists. His average rating of a 7.14, probably one of the best average ratings in the squad. He was absolutely captain fantastic. I really want Ryan Edmondson back again next season. I want him to be my player. I want him to be my player at the club, but we'll see what we can do. His value just doesn't deplete, and it's really frustrating because we're making him look like a better player consistently. I mean, he's a god to me. He's been by far the best player at Bolton. I will talk about him in every episode that he is at Bolton. Get used to it. But yeah, Ryan Edmondson again, a standout performer this season. And when we try and look for standout performers, it becomes quite obvious that there weren't many this season, and I think that just showed the quality of players we had. Now, Delaney was pretty decent, and to be honest with you, I pushed playing younger centre-backs ahead of him to get them game time, and maybe it was a bit of a mistake towards the end. And Pinto was pretty decent when he came in, to be honest with you. Jordan Boone had an okay season. He played a lot of games. But Rayleigh, when I look at the team, I'm left quite frustrated with some of the performances we've had this season. There's been some really terrible performers. I can look at people like Josh Emmanuel and be happy. Sonny Graham actually was a standout player for me this year. A player who isn't supposed to be this good. The game doesn't think that he is this good, but he just always put a solid performance in. And of course, the other lone player, Camalinho from Man United, was actually very good. I wouldn't mind having him back on loan again. I think, to be honest with you, if I didn't have to focus up top next season and could get him back and Edmondson, I love Ryan Edmondson, I think we would be absolutely fine. So that's probably my aim on the loan front, is literally bring back the players we loaned. I'd bring back Ramsey as well. He had some standout performances. Although frustrating when he got injured, he did have some good performances for us. Jake Voskin, though, probably not good enough at left back. But if we can't sign someone on a permanent at left back, he's going to have to come back because he's probably the best left back we've got. And of course, when we look to goal scorers in the squad, we look no further than Ryan Edmondson and Camalinho. Both of them did pretty well this season. I was very impressed with it. Aidan Barlow actually had a fairly good season, although he had a bad bad run of form towards the end, and his average rating then dropped to a 6.80. He did just hit a really rocky patch. I don't know why. I suppose it just happened. He did get 9 assists and 7 goals, so he actually had a decent season. But for me, all round, I'm looking more now at the money. And financially, when we look at players that we could move on that are our players that maybe I don't particularly want at the club or don't need at the club, there are a few players, actually, that we could move on. Now, Cameron John didn't play that much. I think we probably could move him on. I don't know. Barlow's another one as well that we could maybe move on. It's a case of who's going to actually get game time next season, because I want to start looking at bringing in quality now. What I've done before is brought in quantity, brought in as many players as possible to bulk out the squad, and also with the mindset that we're going to sell them on. We're going to move them on. Players like Pinto and Brass were brought in because they were quality, but most importantly, they had high values, and I can move them on. And that's really how I've been looking at players when signing free transfers. Now, moving forward, I want to start looking at players that are quality for the championship, that really can take the team to the next level, because we underperformed towards the back end of this season. I genuinely think we could have finished mid-table, and some of the performances towards the back end of the season really highlighted some of the weaknesses in the squad, especially defensively and rotation. We might have a really, well, not a really quality, but a decent quality starting 11. But after that, there may be 1 or 2 pieces of quality in terms of the personnel we've got. And I need that to change next season. I need to have options, especially like when Brass got injured. One player who's really disappointed me this season was Tulloch. I thought he did so well in League One, but we've learned where his ceiling was. He's definitely a League One player. He's not good at championship level. He was awful. 6.54 is his current form, and 6.71. I brought him in as someone who was probably going to be a little bit of a star for us out on the left wing this year, so Politic could play on the right, but he's not been. He's actually been pretty poor, and when we're paying him over £6,000 a week, he's definitely going to be moved on. I don't think we'll get masses of money for him, but I understand completely now why West Brom let him go on a free, because he really cannot do it in the championship. So guys, in terms of the tactic, this is pretty much what we played the majority of the season. We swapped between this and like a counter-attacking style, but really aggressive counter-attack. It worked okay, like you've seen. We did all right this season. I can't complain too much, can I, Rayleigh, when we finish in 16th in the championship, when Rayleigh, I was a little bit worried that we might go back down again. Of course, the end of season awards are in, boys, and it is no surprise to me to see that Mr. Ryan Edmondson won Fans Player of the Season. It doesn't shock me whatsoever. He also won Young Player of the Season. Politic got Goal of the Season. Sonny Graham actually came second, so that just goes to show you how good he was for his star rating. So do not just trust those star ratings. Sonny Graham had a fantastic season for us here at Bolton. I can't complain about him whatsoever. In fact, he'll be hanging around, and I'll be using him again next season. If he continues to put in performances like this, I'll be more than happy. Season review, I mean, we had a good time in the FA Cup, and we did pretty decently. I must admit, close towards the end of the season, we already hit the club's vision, and they were more than happy with me, so I can't really complain too much. I feel like I'm whinging a bit about the back run, but the team really did perform out their skins this season. So we're just going to accept the current vision. It's avoid relegation again next season, which I think for me gives me a little bit of breathing space to start building the squad. Work within the budget, of course. Sign and sell players for profit. Exactly. It's the way we've been doing this anyway, and that wasn't going to change. Right, guys, well, that is it for another episode of Bringing Back Bolton. I'm going to look now into pre-season to try and build this squad to be a very good championship team, and moving forward, hopefully, very soon, fingers crossed, a Premiership side. We're going to do our best. There's also some new kits in. Thank you very much, Holbrook, for them. I like the new kits. I think they're very good. I think after every couple of seasons, we might put some new kits in. I'm not sure yet. But it'd just be nice now to have a pre-season where we can start to establish some quality into this team. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching this series so far. I really appreciate it. I'm enjoying doing it as well. I'm enjoying playing the save and getting through it. If you haven't checked out the other content on the channel, especially the FC20 save, make sure you go and give that a watch. Leave likes, comments. I'm open to it all. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, because a lot of you aren't, and I would really appreciate that. And I will see you for another episode of Bringing Back Bolton very soon.